During the last decade, Greece has faced important immigration pressures from migrants and asylum seekers from the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. From January 2015 to November 2023, there have been more than 1.2 million sea and land crossings, according to figures provided by UNHCR.
Intersos started this project in 2021. As we know, access to food is a very important issue for the life of people. About 83% of the people coming to our project are women and girls. About 50% are minors. When women and girls are not having access to food, when children don't have access to food, that can have an impact, first of all, on their physical health and mental health. Secondly, they are at risk of exploitation. But we don't have to forget that before people are asylum seekers and refugees, there are women, children, and men that are in need of accessing food. And people that don't have access to food also, they face other challenges. Access to job, access to housing, access to healthcare, access to legal frame. The need for food, it is not only for their health, the need for food is for their dignity. So just not accessing food, you have mental health and physical health conditions. So that means that you will be in need also of the medical treatment. So in addition to not having access to food, you will be in need of medication. So it's a very vicious circle. It's a vicious circle that we need to address it before the circle becomes vicious.
The majority of migrants and asylum seekers are first located in reception and identification centers on 5 islands until their asylum claims are processed. In 2019, the Greek government started to gradually move asylum seekers from overcrowded island facilities to camps on the mainland. A smaller number of applicants were accommodated in urban apartments under the ST accommodation scheme, a program terminated at the end of 2022.
We have seen people who are suffering from chronic illnesses or illnesses that require them to follow a specific type of nutrition because that's what it's needed for their health and well-being, and they cannot find that. We have seen families that the parents may go without so that the children can eat. We have seen pregnant and breastfeeding mothers that they need extra support in nutrition or basic nutritional support and still they cannot find it. I think that pretty much every refugee and asylum seeker and person on the move that comes to our clinic or in related facilities is suffering from a level of food insecurity. Many people are ashamed. They will not admit, especially parents. They do not easily admit that I cannot feed my children or I am going without because my children need to eat. We have seen people whose physical health and mental has been affected by lack of appropriate nutrition, by food insecurity. Basically, not having enough food to eat, enough appropriate food to eat, puts people on a survival mode. They cannot stop to think about something else, they cannot stop to assess something else. It's pure survival, day in, day out.
Following changes to Greece's asylum system and a new fast-track procedure to process asylum claims, recognized refugees are now allowed to remain in state-run facilities for 33 days. Although the asylum application cycle is completed earlier than the previous years, access to integration services and basic needs such as food and shelter have now become a challenge.
Here in Greece we have anemia, we have vitamins deficiency, these cases that they are not severe, in meaning that they need to be hospitalized. If we speak about children under 5, it's very important if they have all these necessary micronutrients, as we call them, macroelements. Of course, we don't have the severe consequences of that yet, because they are too young. But we notice that the quality of food is not appropriate. So if a child, even for 6 months, has no access to appropriate food, rich in micro elements of iron, vitamins, etc., probably the brain that never develops and never reaches the level that has to reach. If we have a child for 1 month or 2 months in a camp, it's okay. It's an emergency situation. We can say that for 2 months or 3 months. But here we are discussing about children that they are living in these conditions for years. As children are vulnerable, also pregnant women are vulnerable. Many of these people are not living in camps anymore or even in protected apartments. They're outside in squares. They are living, they are sleeping roughly. They are not having access to shelter. So we suppose that they don't have access also to appropriate food. But we know very well that this happens and there are children and women in danger, not dying, because some people they are saying, where are the dead bodies? It's not only a question of surviving.
There are 29 rigs and camps in Greece with us, a national public health organization, working there. We can assume that all people staying in rigs and camps have access to food. There are programs, especially for pregnant people, for children, and assessing their health and their nutritional status. But unfortunately, once they leave the camp, we cannot reach to them, we cannot find them, and we could not never know what are their needs or what are their problems. We stand in the position that all people should get fed by the government of Greece. Of course, NGOs and civil society can help us with that project, but the government should provide food and medical services to all people independently of their legal status. This was proven through the COVID period, which all people, undocumented or not, could be vaccinated for COVID, either from our organization or other organizations of the Ministry of Health or NGOs that were administered through the government. When you work for a public health agency or institute, you should never care about what is the status, what is the documents of a person in front of you, but you should try to find a way to provide him with all the necessary that he needs. And we're talking about the very basic right now. We're not talking about integration policy, we're only talking about food, home, and medical services as needed.
So I think the solution to the problem of the people on the move is integration of them to society, showing solidarity for the people on the move. At the same time, it is in benefit of the society who are receiving those people.
No one is exempt from this. Pretty much any person on the move, in a migration route, asylum seeker, refugee, that doesn't have this very basic stability is in danger of facing food insecurity that will affect their physical and mental health.